Tonight, concerns raised about the state of Wyala's ambulance service, and Cobalt Blue's Broken Hill project takes a major step forward.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. Calls are growing for action after a horror few days for regional ambulance services and their resources. The ambulance union claims one Wyala patient suffering a seizure was forced to wait over an hour for help.
A stressful scene no one wants to go through. As the state government spruiks its investment in the ambulance service, union says resource shortages are growing, including in our region. In one case, a 000 call for a 14-year-old Wyala boy who collapsed last Sunday could not be attended to.
It was deemed a priority 1 case by our triage system, which is a life-threatening emergency. An ambulance was supposed to arrive within 8 minutes for that case. Unfortunately, there was no ambulances at all to send within Wyala.
The parents forced to carry the boy to hospital, later receiving an apology.
And saw the family of this 14-year-old and had to apologise on behalf of the ambulance service for not being able to provide an ambulance for them.
2 hours later, a Wyala patient suffering a seizure was forced to wait as no ambulances were available. Paramedics sent from Port Augusta, almost 80 kilometres away.
That's not helping the patient who needs the ambulance in a timely fashion in Wyala, and it's not servicing the Port Augusta community, which leaves them with only 1 ambulance for their entire population.
A state government spokesperson told 7 Spencer Gulf News it's adding 74 additional paramedics with up to 24 allocated to country stations, including Wyala and Port Augusta. But local leaders claim it's just not good enough with lives at risk.
Services in places like our Wyala are under-resourced, and in our smaller regional communities, they depend upon volunteers often to get the job done. There needs to be far more support.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Cobalt Blue's pilot plant in Broken Hill has officially opened, with the project described as a major step towards full production. Cameras were invited into the new facility, said to be the first of its kind anywhere in the world.
It's been years in the making and there's still plenty of work to go. Today's launch of Cobalt Blue's pilot plant, a major milestone towards production.
The pilot plant now is the first large-scale processing of the Cobalt Blue process.
The plant takes raw material mined near Thackeringa, processing it into cobalt sulfate, a key component of lithium-ion batteries.
The focus of this is all about making that battery-ready product, so it's quite different in a lot of ways to conventional mining.
The company says the cobalt here is world-class and an ethical alternative to products mined from other countries, some of which have been accused of human rights abuse. Samples produced here will be sent to more than 30 partners around the globe. The aim is for the entire process to happen in Broken Hill.
Ultimately, what we want to do is have a refinery based in Broken Hill, but that's fed by multiple tenements.
Judging by today's crowd, it's clear this is a project the community wants to see succeed, with hundreds of jobs to be created. The gates opening to shareholders yesterday, a large portion made up of Broken Hill locals.
We're very proud of Broken Hill. We've got everything we need here. We've got power, we've got people, we've got water.
The CEO says the project is now a third of the way towards production and locals can be confident in the science behind it.
What we're trying to do is tackle the risks head on. We're not promising the future, but we're quietly confident that this thing will come together.
Lachlan Eater, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Wyala City Council is officially seeking a new operator for the Beach Cafe. The cafe was forced to close its doors due to health concerns, with the community survey showing strong support for a revamp of the ageing building. Council is footing the bill for the upgrades, which could cost upwards of $230,000, with works expected to begin when the new owner takes over. Expressions of interest close on June 4. And a date for the opening of Wyala's brand new Aldi store has been announced. Shoppers will be able to take a look inside from 8:30 a.m. on Wednesday, June 9. It's one of many stores opening nationwide as the German retailing giant continues to grow its presence in Australia. Whyalla Council says construction of the 1,700 square metre building on Egblom Street near Westland Shopping Centre created 20 local jobs. Once opened, it's expected up to 20 part and full-time employees will be hired. Sobering figures have revealed an insight into Port Lincoln's domestic and family violence crisis, with more than 90 clients currently being supported. Support services say while the numbers are concerning, they fear dozens more are being unheard.
The hidden crisis support services say is being drastically overlooked, putting lives on the line.
Domestic violence and family violence is still so prevalent in our society.
Sobering figures found between June last year and March this year. Port Lincoln's Yarrity service has supported more than 270 victims of domestic violence. Concerningly, 160 of them were new clients.
This is something that has always been an issue.
Yarrity is currently working with 90 clients, but warn it's just the tip of the iceberg, claiming there's dozens more victims likely going unheard.
So we've got 4 crisis units, and we've got another property that can be used for crisis as well. And, you know, they're pretty much full all the time.
That's what also prevents women from leaving. People say, why don't people leave? There's nowhere for some women to go. There aren't spaces, and we're really, working on a shoestring.
Experts say psychological abuse makes it harder for people to realise they're in a domestic violence situation. Services trying to start the conversation in an effort to raise more awareness.
So coercive control is where one person is basically entrapping the other person by limiting their financial freedoms, their access to their family and their friends.
We need to recognise it. It needs to be recognised in terms of services being provided and criminal justice.
If you or someone you know needs help, contact 1800-RESPECT. Nathan Richter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, chimney owners urge to get their fires in order ahead of winter, and Port Lincoln prepares for whale season. Welcome back. As the winter chill sinks in, South Australia's fire service is urging residents to clean their chimneys. Responding to over 60 fires linked to fireplaces last year, authorities say maintaining them is critical.
When looking to beat the winter chills, there's nothing better than sitting by a warm fire. But it can be a potentially deadly exercise if chimneys are not correctly cleaned and maintained.
Compounds that come from the combustion of the wood, particularly if it's unseasoned wood, can coat the lining of those flues and chimneys. So we encourage all members of the community to get those flues and chimneys cleaned every year.
South Australian fire crews attended 64 incidents involving chimneys last year. Looking to reduce that figure, the MFS says there's a number of critical cleaning jobs.
Remnants from vermin or nesting material from animals, or where people store items up in their roof space. If those sort of combustible items get too close to a flue.
Those looking for more information on how to maintain their fireplaces are being urged to get into contact with their local station.
We want everyone to be safe and warm in their home, of course, but a little bit of maintenance, a little bit of care and diligence with how these things are used can reduce the chances of a fire.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A series of small business forums are set to be delivered across the region next week, aiming at equipping business owners with the tools they need to employ staff. It's hoped locals will take advantage of the opportunity.
Teaching business owners the tricks of the trade. The federal government's local jobs program will be delivering 3 small business forums in our region, giving business owners the support they need to take on more staff.
So the purpose of the forum is really about helping employers understand their rights and responsibilities in employing staff and about what support and funding is available.
Partnering with local chambers of commerce and Regional Development Australia, the series will feature the Small Business Commissioner, along with representatives from the Tax Office, Fair Work Ombudsman, Safe Work SA and Apprenticeship Support Network. The member for Grace says it will help grow local job opportunities.
Across the electorate, the demand for workers is just enormous. I mean, virtually every business I'm talking to is saying, I can't get enough workers. Now, we need to get those two married up.
One of the forums will be held here at Central Oval in Port Augusta, with 2 others set to be held in Port Lincoln and Whyalla in the same week.
It's very rare that we get these organisations all together in the region at the same time. So anyone's able to attend. We have targeted at small businesses, but we're happy for businesses of any size to come along.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The whale season is kicked off across the west coast, with the first few southern right and humpback whales being spotted on our coasts. Tour operators say they've arrived earlier than previous years and are hoping for a busy season.
It's the news which has got tourism operators in a buzz. The first whales of the season being spotted off the west coast.
We're just in the process now of gearing up, getting all the boats ready and back into the water. And then, start our tourism season.
2 endangered southern rights were spotted at the head of the bight this week, while humpbacks were seen down south at Neptune Islands and up north at Sejuna.
We had a pretty low year for whales last year, so definitely excited about the numbers getting seen this early in the piece, that's for sure.
It's the time of the year we begin to see more whales. As temperatures drop, the graceful creatures begin to embark on their annual migration, travelling all the way from Antarctica up to the northern and warmer waters to nurse their calves. Tourism operators say they've arrived slightly earlier than in previous years, causing an influx of bookings for those looking to get their own glimpse.
Especially now that there's a bit of talk and a bit of hype about whales moving up the coastline, it definitely sparks a lot of interest. So our bookings leading into whale season's been the strongest this year than we've ever seen.
The whale season runs till October. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. Port Augusta volunteers recognised for their years of service, and the SES go orange to raise awareness of their organisation. It's a difficult conversation outlining your wishes if diagnosed with a terminal illness. The Far West Local Health District hopes to make those decisions easier, hosting a palliative care information session. Broken Hill locals invited to join the palliative care team for morning tea at 11 a.m. tomorrow at Wellbeing Place to learn more about their services or speak to counsellors. Information will also be available for advanced care planning. Volunteers are this week being recognised for their contribution to community as part of National Volunteer Week. Looking to show appreciation for their dedication, some were acknowledged by the Premier today for their outstanding service.
Recognising those who give back to the community. For Chris Nader, volunteering for the past 24 years with the Aridlands Botanic Garden is something she has loved doing.
Even after all this time, I still can't wait to go out there on my day, Wednesday or Thursday, and see who's there or what's happening in the garden, because it's all so very interesting.
Today, she was recognised for her service, presented with the Premier's certificate.
It's been very humbling. I was just quite amazed, actually, that people realise what we're doing at Aridlands and how important it is for the town.
City Council hosting a morning tea as part of National Volunteer Week, thanking 52 volunteers across 7 of its organisations. One of those, Friends of the Aridlands Botanic Garden, also recognised for their contribution.
That's extremely gratifying that we receive these acknowledgements, because it makes it, I guess, worthwhile for those people that do volunteer and assist within the Friends group, because it makes it feel that they're doing something that's really appreciated.
City Council says they're always looking for fresh faces.
We have some programs that we're quite short in volunteer time, so the Yada Pertley Gallery being one of those. So if you do have some spare time that you would like to come down and be a volunteer, we really like to have you on board.
And for those considering it,
just come out and be a tour guide, or come and help in the garden, or volunteer anywhere rather than stop home, because there's nothing worse than sitting up in the morning and not having anything to do.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Our SES members are also being recognised for their dedication this Wear Orange Wednesday. It's been a busy 12 months for the service, with crews from our region deployed to the flood emergency on the East Coast.
It's been a busy 18 months for SES units across the country, dealing with bushfires last year and floods this year. Today is Wear Orange Wednesday, a way to express our gratitude.
It's about people being able to say thank you to the SES volunteers for what they do, and that's a beautiful thing, that's sweet.
Their skill set broad, covering everything from storms and floods to road crash rescues. No matter the weather, they turn up where help is needed.
It's always challenging because the SES is ever evolving. There's always new things to learn, new skills to take on board.
Crews from right across our region putting others first, deploying to flood zones along the east coast in March.
I think they feel great to be able to get out there and help. It'd be a very big eye-opener and an experience.
Broken Hill's CBD will be bathed in orange light tonight in recognition of our local unit. Members will be out and about for those wishing to thank the team in person.
Taking a few photos and out there to answer any questions.
The unit always on the lookout for new volunteers ready for a challenge.
Most of the skills that you learn in SES are quite transferable to even your employment.
Skills that could one day save a life. Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Eyre Peninsula landholders have 4 weeks left to apply for a new program aimed at increasing native vegetation. The Carbon and Biodiversity Program gives farmers funding to revegetate local species in areas ranging from 5 to 200 hectares. Eyre Peninsula's Landscape Board region is one of 6 across Australia involved in this initiative. Applications close on June 11. For more details, visit the Federal Agriculture Department's website. Stay with us after the break. We meet the odd animal couple who've become friends. And we'll have the weather details with Alex Sykes. Hello again. We all love an unusual animal friendship, and it doesn't get any more Aussie than this. Brewski the dog and Toto the emu kicking up the dirt at Silverton Outback Camels, with the pair seen chasing each other around a paddock. Apparently, Brewski's feathers were ruffled by the arrival of his new bird buddy, but it looks like things have been smoothed over in this amusing story. Toto managing to chase down his mate, proving emus can run the pants off dogs too. Australia, hey? Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather across our region. With all the details, here's Alex Sykes.
Thanks, John, and good evening, everyone. It was a partly cloudy day across our region today, with those conditions look set to continue throughout the week and into the weekend, but more on that a little further down in the bulletin. From 3 p.m. today, Port Augusta was 22 degrees, Port Lincoln reached 23, and Clegg got to a high of 19. Looking further out now, Woodnut was 22 degrees, Cooper Pedy, Whyalla and Kadina were all at top of 21, Port Pirie and Broken Hill reached 20 degrees, and Adelaide was 19. Taking a look at the satellite image now, bright looking high jet stream cloud crossing SA from the west is not bringing any rain. Some low cloud is also lingering in the state's southeast and is also not causing any showers. The cloud cover will reduce the frost risk overnight. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Northerly winds 15 to 20 knots, seas 1 to 1.5 metres and swells south-southwesterly below 1 metre. Another partly cloudy day across our region tomorrow. Port Lincoln is set to reach a high of 22. Cleve will get to a high of 23, Woodnor forecast to top 24. Whyalla 22, Port Augusta set to reach 23, and Kadina will get to a high of 21 degrees. Port Pirie 23, Clare and Broken Hill will both be a top of 20. Taking a look further through the week now, mainly fine conditions forecast for Friday with temperatures in the mid to low 20s. Woodnor is set to reach 25, Port Augusta and Port Pirie 24, 23 in Whyalla, Cooper Pedy and Adelaide, Port Lincoln and Kadina 22, and a sunny 21 in Broken Hill. Similar conditions forecast on Saturday. Cooper Pedy will be a sunny 25 degrees, partly cloudy across the rest of the region. Port Augusta and Woodner also 25. 24 will be the high in Port Pirie, 23 the top in Port Lincoln and Whyalla. Kadina, Broken Hill and Adelaide will reach 22 degrees. To Sunday now, and it's looking like another partly cloudy day with temperatures mainly in the mid-20s. Port Augusta, Port Pirie, Woodner and Cooper Pedy all to reach 25. Port Lincoln and Whyalla 24, 22 in Kadina, and Broken Hill and Adelaide will be 23 degrees. Well, it's like a taste of spring with these kind of conditions, John. Let's hope they stick around a little longer before the winter chill fully sets in. That's all in weather. Back to you.
The weather looking quite nice there. Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Wednesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later, and we will be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.